Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulihil Kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. And we continue with Al-Hadith Rabi wa Ishrun, the 24th Hadith, an Abi Dhar radiyallahu anhu, عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فيما روى عن الله عز وجل أنه قال عن أبي ذر, which was originally Abu Dhar and it became Abi after An. Dhar is majroor or mudaf ilayh. رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. نبي, it has a kasra under that shadda due to an. Fima, in what, just a conjunction. Fima rawa anillah. Rawa, just like we have rawahu Muslim, in what he narrated anillah, upon Allah, or from Allah azza wa jal. أنه قال. So this hadith is from Abu Dhar, from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from what he narrated from Allah. Basically a hadith Qudsi, right? This is the speech of Allah azza wa jal. Wa alaikum salam. أنه قال, meaning Allah azza wa jal, that he said, Ya ibadi. Ya harf al-nida, meaning oh, it's calling you. Ibadi. Ibad is the plural of abd, meaning slave. Ibadi, my slaves. Asif. Ya ibadi, O my slaves. Inni, verily I, haramtu, I made haram. Al-dhulm. What did you make haram? Or what did I make haram? Haramtu al-dhulma. Mansub maf'ulun bihi. Haramtu dhulma ala nafsi. I made dhulm, wrongdoing or oppression, forbidden upon myself. Ala nafsi. Wa ja'altuhu, and I made it. Ja'altu, I made who, it, referring to dhulm. Bainakum muharraman, between you all, basically between you guys, between one another, between you guys. Muharraman, I made it. Mansub maf'ulun bihi, and I made it muharram, between you. And here we have two maf'ulun bihi. Ja'altuhu muharraman, I made it muharram, I made it prohibited. Bainakum, meaning between you guys. فَلَا تَظَالَمُوا, so do not do wrong to one another. Here, this ta and this alif, as we said before, this means to be between each other. As we had tahabu, right? Right? Tahabu, meaning to love one another. Right, so that alif and that ta there, when they enter into this tadalamu, here it's tadalamun originally, right? Tadalamun, but because the la of an-nahiya, of a prohibition, it becomes majzoom, and for here majzoom is for us to drop our noon, right? Wala tadalamu, so do not wrong one another. Ya ibadi inni haramtu dhulma ala nafsi. O my slaves, I have made dhulm, oppression, wrongdoing, prohibited upon myself. Or I have prohibited upon myself. وَجَعَلْتُهُ بَيْنَكُمْ مُحَرَّمًا فَلَا تَظَالَمُوا, and I have made it prohibited amongst you guys, so do not wrong one another. Ya ibadi. It continues. Any questions about this part here? No. he continues, Ya ibadi, O my slaves, kullukum dal, illa man hadaytuhu, fastahduni ahdikum. Kullukum, Ya ibadi, O my slaves, kullukum, all of you, dal, are misguided, like dalin. Kullukum dal, illa man hadaytuhu, except whoever hadaytu, I guided, who? Him. Kullukum dal, all of you are misguided. Illa man hadaytuhu, except who I guided. Fastahduni ahdikum. It says, fastahduni. We said that this seen, ta, right? In Form 10, it usually means to seek. Somebody's headset is loose, I think. Fastahduni, meaning, so seek guidance from me. Now here originally it is stahduna. He's talking to a group of people, right? A group is stahdun. But here it's conditional, these two words, right? These two words are conditional, and so we have majzoom, we have jazm here, or sukoon. So we drop our noon in istahdu, and then we add this ni, so we don't need our alif that we would normally have there for dropping our noon. Fastahduni, and so seek guidance from me. Ahdikum, right? Usually it would be Yahdi, and it became here Ahdi for me, right? But there's no Ya. Why? Because it's majzoom. It's majzoom because it's conditional. So we're saying, basically, he's saying if you seek so he's commanding you to seek guidance from me, and then I will guide you. Fastahduni ahdikum. Any questions?
The hadaytuhu. You said whoever I guided. Now the last who is him or he or something, right?
Well, yeah. Illa man hadaytu, except who I guided him, right? Kullukum dal, all of you are misguided. Illa man, except who hadaytu, I guided, who? Him. Except for who I guided, basically.
That's a lot of pronouns to say.
Except for the one who I guided him, right?
Could have just said except for the one whom I guided, whomever I guide. But yeah.
Ya ibadi. Huh?
I just said it's on there, yeah.
Ya ibadi, O my slaves, kullukum ja'i'. Kullukum ja'i', from jaw', right? To be hungry. All of you are hungry. Illa man at'amtuhu. Illa, except the one who I fed him. At'amtu, I fed who? Him. Except who I fed him. Fastat'imuni ut'imkum. So seek your food, seen ta, the scene of seeking something. So seek your provision, seek your food from me. Ut'imkum, and I will feed you. Right? Go back up a little bit. Ya ibadi, kullukum ar. Kullukum ar. All of you are naked. The same from we had at the end of the Hadith of Jibril from the signs of the hour that the barefoot, naked, destitute shepherds will be vying with one another and building tall buildings, right? Ar. Kullukum ar. All of you are naked. Illa man kasawtuhu. From ka seen wow, meaning to clothe. Illa man kasawtuhu. Except for the one who I clothed him. Fastaksuni aksukum. So seek your clothing for me and I will clothe you. Right? And he says, Ya ibadi, innakum tukhti'una bil-layli wan-nahar. O my slaves, verily you, tukhti'una, from khata'a. Right? Meaning to make mistakes or to sin. Innakum tukhti'una bil-layli wan-nahar. Verily you sin by night and day. Bil-layl, in the night and in the day. You sin nightly and daily. You sin in the night and in the day, like this. وَأَنَا أَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا. وَأَنَا, and I, أَغْفِرُ, I forgive الذُّنُوبَ. الذُّنُوبَ, I forgive what? I forgive الذُّنُوب, sins, the plural of dhanb, right? I forgive them, mansoob maf'ulun bihi. أغفر الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا. Jami'an is the hal here, the condition. How does he forgive? He forgives them all the sins, right? فَاسْتَغْفِرُونِي أَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ. So seek forgiveness from me, أَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ, I'll forgive you. Any questions so far?
Forgive lakum, I'll forgive for you or to you.
Well, I have forgiveness for you. However, in English, it's not going to translate the same way. We don't want to.
I'm just trying to make sure that I
because
understand
it's always when you say after salat, what do you say after salat?
Astaghfirullah.
Astaghfirullah, right? And then you'll say, for instance, li astaghfirullah, and what's the imam saying at the end of the first khutbah a lot of times? Astaghfirullah li wa lakum. I seek forgiveness of Allah for me and for you. So it's just this lam usually goes with this istighfar or astaghfara yastaghfiru. It usually goes with it. Like dakhala goes with ila, or kharaja goes with min. It's one of those verbs that the la usually goes with it here, right? It's not going to make sense in English, right? Unless you say fastaghfiruni, so seek your forgiveness from me. Aghfir lakum, I will have forgiveness on you, or something. I don't know how to make it make sense in English, except in Arabic, the ghafara yaghfiru requires the lam, right? Let's see if I can see why for a translation purpose here. The problem is, like I said, in English we don't need it. Yeah, in English we're just not gonna need it. I will forgive. It just goes with it. This this lam always goes with that verb. Ya ibadi, O my slaves, innakum لن تبلغوا ضري فتضروني ولن تبلغوا نفعي فتنفعوني. Now, if the lamb didn't make sense, then this sentence here is probably for sure not going to make sense. So you're going to need an explanation of why it ends up like this in Arabic. Ya ibadi, O my slaves, innakum, verily you, lan tablugu, lan tablugu, was originally tablugun. Because of len, it became mansub, and mansub for this form is that we drop our noon. So len tablugu, you will not reach, from balagha, to reach, right? Balagha, to reach. Len tablugu, you will not reach darri. Dar, as we already learned previously, is harm. La darar wa la dirar. We've had that word a couple times now. Lan tablugu darri. You will not reach my harm. Why is it said like this? Allah knows best. We have to read the books of Sharh to make it make sense. Fatadurruni, so that you will harm me. So, innakum lan tablugu darri fatadurruni. You will not reach, verily you will not reach my harm, so that you harm me. And this is how they translate it as well. Basically, if we cut it and make it make sense in English, you are not able to do anything which harms me. You're not able to do anything, you're not able to do any harm which harms me, but which will harm Allah Azza wa Jal. But why does it say, lan tablugu darri, you will not reach my harm, fatadurruni, so that you harm me? Allahu Alam. But we can read the next part, maybe it helps us make sense. وَلَن تَبْلُغُوا نَفْعِي, and you will not reach my benefit, فَتَنْفَعُونِي, so that you benefit me. Meaning, you can't do anything that's going to harm or benefit Allah. Nothing you do can do so. Why is it worded like this? We'll have to wait and see what it says in the books of explanation. But innakum lan tablughu darri, you will not reach my harm, fatadurruni, so that you harm me, walan tablughu naf'i, and you will not reach my benefit, fatanfa'uni. Here it says inside of the one that's translated by Fawzan, it says, O my servants, you are incapable of bringing harm to me such that you may harm me, and you are incapable of benefiting me such that you may provide me benefit. Same basic translation, right? Why is it? Why didn't he just say, Lan tadurruni, you're not able to harm me, wala tanfa'uni, why you're not able to benefit me? Allah knows best. Like I said, when we come to the books of Sharh, then we'll make more sense of that phrase of why it's phrased like this. But the main point for us right now is to understand the Arabic. It says, if you understand the word, for instance, if I give you this phrase and you don't understand it at all, then you don't even know if you understand it to look it up or not. Whereas now you understand the word, you say, I don't know what it means. Now you can go to the explanation and see what the Sheikh says and understand the explanation. This is going to happen. Even the Arabs are going to read sentences that don't make sense to them. They're going to have to go get the explanation of the Mashaykh. That's why the books are written. That's why the explanations are written, because even the Arabs may not understand the meaning of the phrase. So he says, Ya ibadi, O my slaves, Lo anna awwalakum wa akhirakum. Lo is if. O my slaves, if that the first of you, anna awwalakum, that the first of you, wa akhirakum, and the last of you. And awwala and akhira are mansub after anna. Anna awwalakum wa akhirakum, if the first of you and the last of you. وَإِنسَكُمْ وَجِنَّكُمْ, and the human of you, the ins, and it's controlled by anna, mansub, وَجِنَّكُمْ, and the jinn of you, right? The human of you and the jinn of you. كَانُوا عَلَى أَتْقَى الْقَلْبِ, or أَتْقَى قَلْبِ رَجُلٍ. If you were, كَانُوا, if you guys were, عَلَى أَتْقَى قَلْبِ, upon the atqa, from the word taqwa. Here it's superlative, upon the most pious heart of a man, of one man. Rajulin wahidin minkum, meaning inna awwalakum wa akhirakum wa insakum wa jinnakum, the first of you and the last of you, the human of you and the jinn of you. Kanu ala atqa qalbi rajulin wahidin minkum, if you were on the most pious heart of one of you, your men, meaning the most pious heart. Ma zada dhalika fi mulki shay'a. Ma here is a negation. Zad is increase, right? Zad, yazid, from iman, yazid wa yanqus. That would not increase. Dhalika, ma zada dhalika, that would not increase. Fi mulki, in my kingdom. Mulki, in my kingdom. Shay'an, anything. Increase anything in my kingdom. If you were the most pious people, it wouldn't make his kingdom any better or more or anything. Ya ibadi, law anna awwalakum wa akhirakum wa insakum wa jinnakum kanu ala afjari qalbi rajulin wahidin. If you were on the afjar, which is from fujur or fajr, meaning not salatul fajr, meaning a fajr, like a criminal. If you were on the worst or corrupt heart of one man, take the most corrupt heart of one of you. If all of you had that same corruptness in his heart, ma naqasa dhalika min mulki shay'a, that would not decrease from my naqasa, from the opposite of zada, naqasa, it would not decrease, that would not decrease from my kingdom anything. Any questions? Ya ibadi, law anna awwalakum wa akhirakum wa insakum wa jinnakum قاموا في سعيد واحد. If they stood, if you stood, قاموا, to stand, plural, قاموا, stood, في سعيد. Sa'id is a barren, dry, empty land. Barren, dry, empty, there's nothing there, right? An open plain, basically. That's the same word used in Surah Al-Kahf. Right? Allah made the world beautiful and did all of that, and He's going to return it to a plain empty place. Right? A plain empty land on the Day of Judgment. If all of you, the first of you, the last of you, the human of you, the jinn of you, stood on a sa'idin wahidin, one empty plain, fasa'aluni, and they asked me, or you asked me. Here it's got the meaning of you, but it's saying awwalakum wa akhirakum, meaning it's using they now, but it has the meaning of you. And you asked me. فَأَتَيْتُ كُلُّ إِنسَانٍ مَسْأَلَتَهُ. فَأَعْطَيْتُ, from ata, to give, right? So أعطيت, and I gave. So I gave. كُلَّ, I gave who? كُلَّ. I gave every insan, every person, every single individual, mas'alatahu. I gave him his issue, his thing that he's asking about, his mas'ala, his thing that he was asking for. And again, this is maf'ulun bihi, and here we see that we have two maf'ulun bihis. I gave everyone what he asked for. Ma naqasa dhalika mimma indi. Mimma is minma. That would not decrease from what indi is with me, illa, except, kama yanqusu, like or just as, yanqusu al-mikhyat. Al-mikhyat is a needle, right? This needle, right? That you sew with, right? The tailor is called the khayyat, right? The khayyat. Mikhyat is the needle. Illa kama yanqusu al-mikhyatu, except like what the needle decreases, إذا أدخل البحر, when it or if it أدخل, it enters into the ocean. أدخل البحر, if it's entered into the ocean. So you got the ocean, you take this needle and you dip it in it and pull it out. How much has the ocean decreased? None, right? Because nothing sticks to the needle. To the needle, it doesn't decrease anything, right? Ya ibadi, I can't hear you guys for some reason, so I'll just keep going until it pops back in, but for some reason, says somebody's internet is weak, so it's not letting me hear. There I go. Ya ibadi, innama hiya a'malukum, O my slaves. And you said this innama means only, right? Hiya a'malukum, they are your deeds. They are your deeds. They are only your deeds. Only your deeds, right? Uhsiha lakum. Uhsiha lakum. This hasa means to count. As Allah says, if someone were to try to count the favors of Allah, they could never enumerate them, right? The word here is uhsi, to count, right? Also, whoever, Allah has 100 names, or Allah has 99 names, 100 minus 1, man ahsaha, whoever counts them, right? So, uhsiha lakum, I will count them for you, right? Innama hiya a'malukum, verily they are only your deeds. Uhsiha lakum, I will count them for you, meaning He will hold us accountable for them, right? He will recompense us for them. He will count them for us, but He will also hold us accountable. If they were good, He'll give us good. If they were bad, we'll see bad. ثُمَّ أُوَفِّيكُمْ إِيَّاهَا, right? And then I will ufiha, uwafiha, meaning basically uhsiha, I will count them. Umma uwafikum iyaha. To explain this is going to be hard for me, but I'm going to try. From awfa, which we look it up though, wafa, meaning to fulfill, right? So when you fulfill a contract, right? Awfa bil uqud, to fulfill the contract, right? So uwafikum, so like basically you fulfill it. So now He has counted our deeds for us. Now He's going to uwafi, He's going to fulfill them. Meaning, if you have, for instance, if you go into a grocery store, and of course the example of Allah is the most is the best. But if you have a list and you give it to the grocer and you tell him fill it, he's going to put those things in the cart, right? So he's going to put those things in the bag for you. So now you have a good deeds and bad deeds, right? And hopefully our bad deeds are less than our good deeds, right? So when he counts them for us and then he fulfills that, like that order, uwafikum, he's going to pay us back for those. He's going to give us according to what he counted, right? Iyaha, this is the difficulty here. This is the thumma uwafikum, then I'm going to fulfill you or pay that, iyaha, basically for them. This iyah, I'm really confused in it all the time, because sometimes, like for instance, we say iyaka na'budu, right? And then sometimes we say wa iyaka when we, like someone tells us jazakallahu khairan. What's the difference? How does it work? I don't know. I just kind of understand it when they say it, but I can't use it because I don't really understand the difference of this iyak. Because iyaka na'budu, you only we worship. Wa iyaka, when someone tells you jazakallahu khairan, I don't know. But this iyah, and if I got my book here, maybe it'll help me. Anyway, he's saying here, he's going to pay us back for those deeds that we have. I'll continue, and then I'll look this up. فَمَنْ وَجَدَ خَيْرًا, so whoever finds good, or found good, فَلْيَحْمَدِ اللَّهِ, then let him praise Allah. This lamb is the lamb of Amr. And this kasra here is for reading purposes. Otherwise it would be a sukoon. فَلْيَحْمَدْ, because of this lamb of Amr. فَلْيَحْمَدِ اللَّهَ, lafdul jalala mansub, the object of our praise. Right? فَلْيَحْمَدِ اللَّهَ, then let him praise Allah. مَنْ وَجَدَ خَيْرًا فَلْيَحْمَدِ اللَّهَ. وَمَنْ وَجَدَ غَيْرَ ذَلِكَ, and whoever found other than that, فَلَا يَلُومَنَّ إِلَّا نَفْسَهُ, then don't يَلُومَنَّ, let him blame, from lauma, lam waw mim, to blame. لَوْمَنَّ, here, this is our noon at-tawkid al-mushaddada that we've been talking about in an-Nahu wadih. This is the noon at-tawkid, the noon of emphasis. La yalumanna, then basically he has no one to blame. Emphasizing that. Illa nafsahu, except himself. Right? No one, woman wajada ghayra dhalika, and whoever finds other than that, meaning other than khayran, fala yalumanna, then he has no one to blame, illa nafsahu, except for himself. Are there any other questions besides this iyah? Fadal.
Nakada.
Naqasa?
Yeah, nakasa.
What's the question?
What
Yes,
you said it meant?
Yes, there's class tomorrow. Huh?
What did you say that meant?
To decrease. As Iman, Yazid wa Yanqus. It's the opposite of, we just had it above. Right? We just had it above. If all of you were together, right, it wouldn't decrease my anything. Then it says, if all of you were to do this, we go up.
Yeah, I got it.
It was twice inside this hadith.
Yeah.
Let me see the first one. Here's naqasa here. Right? And naqasa here. You know, I don't know why I just did that.
Yeah.
Naqasa, naqasa. Right? Anything else? This E, I've asked about it before, this iyat, and I got an answer that didn't give me any help. Right? So I've looked it up and I didn't get any help. So it's just something that Allah's preventing me. Iyat, the mere munfasil, then how the must be. But why is iyat? I don't know what it is. It says it's a pronoun, but I don't understand it, so I can't help you guys in that. I just understand it, that he's going to repay you for those deeds, but I can't help you with the iyah because I'm not understanding it. It says it's a damir, a pronoun, but I don't understand how. Any other questions?
لا.
إذن محرم اقرأ لنا.
عن أبي ذر رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فيما روى عن الله عز وجل أنه قال: يا عبادي إني حرمت الظلم على نفسي وجعلته بينكم محرما فلا تظالموا. يا عبادي كلكم ضالون إلا من هديته فاستهدوني أهدكم. يا عبادي كلكم جائع إلا من أطعمته فاستطعموني أطعمكم. يا عبادي كلكم عار إلا من كسوته فاستكسوني أكسكم. يا عبادي إنكم تخطئون بالليل والنهار وأنا أغفر الذنوب جميعا فاستغفروني أغفر لكم. يا عبادي إنكم لن تبلغوا ضري فتضروني ولن تبلغوا نفعي فتنفعوني. يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أتقى قلب رجل واحد منكم ما زاد ذلك في ملكي شيئا. يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أفجر قلب رجل واحد ما نقص ذلك من ملكي شيئا. يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم قاموا في صعيد واحد فاسألوني فأعطيت كل إنسان مسألته ما نقص ذلك مما عندي إلا كما ينقص المخيط إذا أدخل البحر. يا عبادي إنما هي أعمالكم أحصيها لكم ثم أوفيكم إياها فمن وجد خيرا فليحمد الله ومن وجد غير ذلك فلا يلومن إلا نفسه. رواه مسلم.
Here, the sister said she found a Wiktionary. Wiktionary. It says that it's to introduce a second object pronoun when the other object pronoun is already attached to the verb, preposition, or article. Okay. I mean, the only thing I can do is we can try to make some sense and maybe make a mistake, inshallah ta'ala, making sense of it. But there are certain things like, right, for instance, we have in the Quran, if we say razaqnakum, right? Okay, now here we provided razaqna, we provided you. Now, if you wanted to say what you provided, and for instance, you already talked about, I'm hoping that this is right because it makes sense from what I understand. So here, let's look again at the hadith. It says, if I go here, give me 1 second. It says, okay, it says, Iyaha is our a'mal, right? It's our a'mal. The ha here is the a'mal. So if we have, for instance, we have up here iman in our sentence or something, right? And so then Allah is telling us He provided us with iman. As an example, razaqnakum, right? We want to say who, like He provided, or we provided, provided or gave provisions of iman, because iman is from provisions, right? Was that so if you say that, we provided him with iman, or if you want to say wealth, no problem, mal, or ta'am, whatever. So now you're down here and you want to say it, but you want to use the pronoun. Sometimes you already have a maf'ulun bihi here. You already have an object, right? We provided who? We provided you. So you want to add a second object. You're going to say, when you're talking about this iman or mal or ta'am, you can't just say iyakum razaqnakum who. That's not going to make sense, right? To add that who for it. So they'll say iyahu, provided you with it. So you need this iyah to connect our second maf'ulun bihi. That's what she's saying there, right? Because it's already attached to the verb or the preposition of the particle. So now, here it says in this dictionary here, الضمير المنفصل منصوب تتصل به جميع الضمائر, right? Up above that it says ضمير نصب منفصل تتصل به ضمائر النصب. So it's saying the same basic thing in Arabic. So if that's the case, then here, ثُمُّ أُوَافِيكُمْ, I'm going to pay you back, or I'm going to fulfill that, fulfill that, pay it to you, right? I'm going to pay you it. I'm going to pay you for it, pay you it. So I can't just have this ha connected to my meme. So they put the iya in between it. I will try to ask today if I'm understanding that. If it is, then that's fantastic. That'll give me the ability to use it, because I hear it all the time and I understand it, but not to the point where I can use it, right? So it's like certain words that we hear, we know what they mean when we hear them, but we don't think about them outside of that, because we don't own those words. They're not in our working vocabulary. So if that's the case, inshallah ta'ala, then I will let us know tomorrow or the next day when we meet, because tomorrow is an Nawawi. Hope that's helped us somewhat. At least, we try to think about it, figure it out together, and then we'll ask somebody if I'm understanding it properly, inshallah ta'ala, and I'll let you know. Abu Tahir, اقرأ لنا.
عن أبي ذر رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فيما روى عن الله عز وجل أنه قال يا عبادي إني حرمت الظلم على نفسي وجعلته بينكم محرما فلا تظالموا يا عبادي كلكم ضال إلى من هديت فاستهدوني أهديكم يا عبادي كلكم جائعون إلا من أطعمت فاستأتموني أطعمكم يا عبادي كلكم عار إلى من قصدت فاستقصوني أقصوكم يا عبادي إنكم تقتلون بالليل والنهار وأنا أغفر الذنوب جميعا فاستغفروني أغفر لكم يا عبادي إنكم لن تبلغوا ضاري فتضروني ولن تبلغوا نفعي فتنفعوني يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أتقى قلبي رجلا واحد منكم ما زاد ذلك في الملك شيئا يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أفجر قلبي رجل واحد ما نقص ذلك من ملك شيئا يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم قاموا في صعيد واحد فسألوني فأعطيت كل إنسان مسألته ما نقص ذلك مما عندي كما ينقص المقياس إذا أدخل البحر يا عبادي إنما هي أعمالكم أوصيها لكم ثم أوافيكم إياها فمن وجد خيرا فليحمد الله ومن وجد غير ذلك فلا يلومن إلا نفسه رواه مسلم.
Nah. Inshallah, I think we might have figured it out. I think the sister did a good job. Jazakallah khairah. As the example she gave here, right, that she pulled from this dictionary, it says, A'taytuhu, right? A'taytuhu as-sayyara. I gave him the car. And then, if you were to just use the pronoun, you would say, A'tay. I want to say, I gave him it. Or, yeah, I don't want to say siyar. I want to say it. A'taytu. Right? Hu iyaha. Here, the ha is representing the siyara. Right? The siyara. The car. But you can't put the ataytuhu ha. You can't put, hu ha. You can't do that, right? You got to separate them with this iya. So I'm hoping that's what it means. And there's a couple other options that it says inside of it, right? So hopefully that will be what it means, and then I'll make sure. Because it says that there's 3 possibilities, right? Jazakumullah khair. Muharram sent me something in WhatsApp, and we'll look it up today, and then the next time we have class, hopefully we'll. Next person is Abdullah and Amir.
And Abi Tharrin and Abi Tharrin radiallahu anhu عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فيما رواه عن الله عز وجل أنه قال يا عبادي إني حرمت الظلم على نفس وجعلته بينكم محرما فلا تظالموا يا عبادي كلكم ضال إلا من هديته فاستهدوني أهدكم يا عبادي كلكم جائع إلا من أطعمته فاستطعموني أت منكم يا عبادي كلكم آرن إلا من كسوت فاستكسوني أكسكم يا عبادي إنكم تخطئون بالليل والنهار وأنا أغفر ذنوب
نعم.
جميعا أستغفروني أغفر لكم يا عبادي إنكم لن تبلغوا ضري فتدوروني ولن تطلبوا نفسي فتنفعوني يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أتقى قلب رجل واحد منكم ما زاد ذلك في ملكي شيئا يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أفجار كلب رجل واحد ما نقص ذلك من ملكي شيئا يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم قاموا في سعيد واحد فسألوني فأعطيت كل إنسان مسألته ما نقص ذلك مما عندي إلا كما يقوس المخيط إذا أدخل خلال البحر يا عبادي إنما هي أعمالكم أحصيها لكم ثم أوفيكم إياها فمن وجد خيرا فليحمد الله ومن وجد خير ذلك فلا يلومن إلا نفسه رواه مسلم.
نعم. جزاك الله خيرا يا عامر.
How many minutes we got left?
6.
Okay. عن أبي ذر الغفاري رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فيما يرويه عن ربه عز وجل أنه قال يا عبادي إني حرمت الظلم على نفسي وجعلته بينكم محرما فلا تظالموا يا عبادي كلكم ضالون إلا من هديته فاستهدوني أهدكم يا عبادي كلكم جائع إلى من أطعمته فاستطعموني أطعمكم يا عبادي كلكم عار إلا is it إلا or إلا I don't have the haraka here إلا من كسوته فاستكسوني أكسكم يا عبادي إنكم تخطئون بالليل والنهار وأنا أغفر الذنوب جميعا فاستغفروني أغفر لكم يا عبادي إنكم لن تبلغوا ضري فتضروني ولن تبلغوا نفعي فتنفعوني يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أتقى قلب رجل واحد منكم ما زاد ذلك في ملكي شيئا يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أفجر قلب رجل واحد منكم ما نقص ذلك من ملكي شيئا يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم قاموا في صعيد واحد فاسألوني فأعطيت كل واحد مسألته ما نقص ذلك مما عندي إلا كما ينقص ينقص المخيط is it مخيط with a فتحة مخيط إذا أدخل البحر يا عبادي إنما هي أعمالكم أحصيها لكم ثم فيكم إياها فمن وجد خيرا يحمد الله ومن وجد غير ذلك فلا يلومن إلا نفسه رواه مسلم.
Jazakallah khairan. The sister, she put in the stuff from the Wiktionary there. If we look at some of the examples plus the link that Muharram sent, for instance, he has a hadith inside of the one he sent, which will help us to understand, inshallah. He says, Innaha baraka. Right? Innaha baraka a'takum Allah iyaha. Right? Iyaha. فلا تدعوها تدعوها. طيب. So إنها بركة. Verily it is a blessing. أعطاكم الله. Allah is the lafzul jalal, the fa'il. Allah gave you, but he wants to say gave you it. Meaning gave you those barakah, or gave you that barakah. So he has to have iya. If we read here what the sister wrote in the chat here, it says Arabic personal pronouns are suffixes and they're not complete words in their own right. We're talking about attached pronouns, the ones that are attached, right? The only time they can be huwa and hiya, right, is when they are subjects. But if they're the object, then they need to be attached to something, right? Because of this, Arabic grammar doesn't allow the ha and the hu and the ka and all of that to stand on their own. They need something, right? So they must have a carrier word. Normally, object pronouns are connected to the verb, such as in here. That's an object pronoun. Atakum. Kum is the object of the giving, right? Or a preposition like minkum, or minkum, or fi na, or whatever, like that, right? Or attached to a particle like laka, or whatever, right? And thus the overwhelming majority of the time this governing verb, preposition, or particle is also the carrier, such as atakum, minkum, so on and so forth. However, these object pronouns may be separated from the governing word for any number of reasons, in which iyah must be employed as a generic carrier word. So in other words, if we need a second maf'ulun bihi, right, and it's a pronoun, then we're going to use the word iyah for it, right, in order to delay the verb until after the object is introduced, usually to emphasize the pronoun. This is iyyaka na'budu, right? Otherwise it would be, I got 4.5 minutes, na'buduka, right? Na'buduka, we worship you. And this is fine. That's fine. We worship you. But because we want to emphasize Allah, alone, meaning we worship you alone, then we put iyyaka na'budu in order to emphasize this kaf, right? So that's the second reason. Number one, two maf'uls, and one of them is the pronoun. One being a pronoun. Right? Number two, if we want to emphasize the pronoun, such as in iyyaka na'budu, right? And the last one was to state the object of a verb, preposition, or particle that is immediately understood from the text. That's what we did up there. To introduce a second object pronoun when this other object pronoun is already attached. Let's get an example for that third one, inshallah. This is good because, I never thought to look it up in English before. I've always tried to look it up in Arabic and I never found it. So now we looked it up in English and we found it. Okay, to state the object of a verb or a preposition, which is the third one, we get an example here. It says, Amara alla ta'budu illa iyyah. Right? Amara, he was commanded or ordered, right? Allah, or he ordered rather, Allah, and that ta'budu, that you don't worship. This is a bat right there, not a, that ta'budu illa iyyahu, that you don't worship. Amara ala ta'budu, that you don't worship except him. We don't say illa huwa, right? We say illa iyyahu. So that's the three. That takes some work for us to get used to. Inshallah, that'll help us. And I will still call and try to get some clarification. And jazakallah khairan to the sister who brought that for us and made it a little clearer, inshallah. And we'll meet tomorrow for Nahul Wadih, and the next day for Hadith bi'idhnillah. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.